Hello, this is Thomas Lloyd, Artistic Director of the Bucks County Choral Society. We're preparing to open our 40th anniversary season on Sunday, October 28, 2012 at 4 p.m. in Our Lady of Guadalupe Church in Doylestown, with a performance of one of the most deeply inspired works in the choral repertoire, Sergei Rachmaninoff's All-Night Vigil. Rachmaninoff's Vigil is widely considered to be the crowning achievement of the rich legacy of Russian sacred choral music, so we'd like to give you a little background of what came before. Singing without instrumental accompaniment of any kind has been the basis of worship in the Orthodox tradition for centuries. From what we know, the early forms of liturgical chant were sung by low men's voices in a straightforward and expressively restrained style. The Eastern Rite chants were somewhat narrow in range, often undulating around only a few different notes, sounding somewhat less elaborate than the Roman style of chant emerging later in the West. Listen to this example of the Vigil hymn Svietya Tihi, or Gladsome Light. During the time of Mozart, Haydn, and Beethoven, Orthodox composers began writing the chant for choirs singing in harmony, sometimes imitating the style of their Western counterparts. Here's an example from one of the most prominent Orthodox composers of his time, Dmitri Bortniansky. But Russian choral music had yet to find its own indigenous roots in the ancient chant. In 1886, the moribund Moscow Synodal School for Training Church Musicians was freed from the constraints of the imperial censors and allowed to develop a new Russian choral school style of sacred choral composition. One of the leaders of that group was Alexander Kostalsky. He embodied the essence of the new approach, seeking to bypass Western European standards and reach back to the ancient Znameni chant of earlier centuries in the East for inspiration. Listen to this serenely beautiful setting of the Gladsome Light hymn, the same one we heard earlier by Kostalsky. Born in 1873, Rachmaninoff attained world renown as an orchestral composer and as the leading concert pianist of his day, here heard playing his famous Second Piano Concerto. Rachmaninoff had little involvement with the new sacred choral style until persuaded by Kostalsky and others to give it a try. Having grown up in a non-religious family, he had to learn everything about the sacred texts from scratch. Known to write down his compositions quickly after having thought them out for months in his head, it took him only 2 weeks to inscribe the complete score of his All-Night Vigil in 1915 during the early months of World War I. Listen to Rachmaninoff's setting of the Gladsome Light hymn as rehearsed by the Choral Society.